I do in the summer. It's the Summer Intern Challenge. So on this side are all of my Team Plaskett, the permanent staff who are here. Each of you as summer interns were asked to find a coach to help you. I understand that some of you just think y'all are so bad that you don't need a coach. But one of the things, the purpose of the Summer Intern Challenge is this is a once a week event where I pick an issue that's going on here in Washington, in the world, in the nation, back in the Virgin Islands, that's pretty significant, and ask you guys to get knowledgeable about it. Because it's not enough for you guys to be copying stuff, looking at specific briefings for us. I really want you to understand how policy affects the world, how things that are happening in this country and in our world are affected by what we do here in Washington. So, one of the biggest things that's been going on past couple of months is migration, right? Immigration. This is something you guys are hearing on all of the cable stations, on the floor, people are talking about it. I don't know if you talked about it in school at all, if you have current events or anything like that, but I wanted you guys to get a little knowledge about, and I tried to narrow it a little bit for you, to talk about the migration crisis that's going on, and the countries that people are coming from, and why they're coming from those places, all right? So the questions range in kind of difficulty, and some are a little outside the box, things you may not have thought about. So you get a sense of where my head is. I'm all over the place, and this is a way for you guys to, even if you don't know the answer, to be knowledgeable. But there is a prize for the winner, and the winner is the person who asks the most questions correct. So Tiana, you have a pen with you?
Yeah.
So can you keep score?
Sure.
And everyone who's on Facebook doesn't know who you all are. So I'm gonna ask you guys to introduce yourself, your name, shout out where you're from, your school, what you're doing. Okay, you start. You.
Oh, hey guys, my name is Shapira Krieger. I'm from St. Thomas. I go to school here in the DC area at the University of Maryland College Park. I'm a communications major.
Hi, my name is Zeta. I go to Thomas Edison High School in Alexandria, Virginia. I run track and I'm an intern.
Hello, my name is Mara Brody. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida, and I attend Within Cooking University, and I'm an intern this summer.
And what internship are you here with?
Oh, I'm here with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation internship.
Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Zhang. I'm originally from Palo Alto, California, but now I go to school at Rosemary Hall in Connecticut.
Hi everyone, my name is Gianna. I'm from St. Croix, and I currently go to school in Atlanta, Georgia at Agnes Scott College, and I'm majoring in political science.
So the way you are the person who answers, and we determine if you're answering, I call on you, is he slammed the table, okay? And who's gonna determine that the person slammed the table first? Is that you, Lewis?
Sure.
So Lewis will be the person who calls who slammed the table first after the question is given. Jeff, what should we do?
When do I start the timer?
We're gonna start the timer when they slam first.
Okay.
And we're only going to take like 2 minutes for each one, okay? You have max that you can answer the question. And this was the purpose of the coach, because if nobody here knows the answer, you could ask your coach to whisper it to you, and if you get it right, you still get the point. All right? All right, first question. We all know that there has been a migration crisis of people coming across the border. Many people in that discussion say that the majority of them are coming from the Northern Triangle. What is the Northern Triangle? Lewis?
Brandon, but I will say moving forward, everyone needs to have their hands underneath the table.
Okay, so Brandon, what's the answer?
Do I have to phrase it like the Jeopardy question?
No.
That's Jacob.
I'll solve
You gotta hear saying it for them as well.
El Salvador, Honduras, and Ecuador.
Wrong.
Shapira.
El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Correct.
All right.
Which of those three have the most migrants coming in the last year?
Brandon.
El Salvador.
Wrong.
He's like Jacob. That's Jacob.
Honduras.
Correct.
That's Jacob. You're Jacob. Brandon, you need to hold the foot. Come on.
Come on now. Some of the all others got to get up in there. Y'all got to be aggressive. Okay. What are some of the factors, if you can give me at least 3 factors, for the movement of people from these countries to the United States?
Zeta.
Crime and violence, poverty, and economic decrease.
That would be poverty.
Okay.
Last chance. Third.
Violence.
You said that crimes.
Crime, violence, poverty, and
Fine.
Next, you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds, Zeta.
can't think.
Okay, next person.
Mara.
Crime and violence, economic instability, and governmental instability.
Correct.
I'm sitting next to her in class.
The factors for movement for many of these people, it's not that they necessarily want to leave their countries, but reports have shown that the factors are corrupt governments, chronic poverty in those areas, rising crimes, and illicit drugs leading to insecurities in the countries. Okay? Now, we've been talking about people who are coming when we talk about the term migration. But the individuals who are migrating, we use different terms for them. I'm going to give you a definition. I'm going to give you 2 words. And can you tell me by defining them what the difference is between them? Define the difference between a migrant and a refugee.
So a migrant is a person that's moving, immigrating for mostly like economic reasons. And I believe a refugee is coming more because it's dangerous, or they feel that if they stay in their homeland, they might die or they might be in grave danger.
Wrong.
All that for that.
Particularly the first part is wrong. A migrant and a refugee. One is a subset of the other.
A migrant is any person.
Wait, did anybody say call your name? Did your name get called?
You get called twice if you missed the first time?
Anybody else?
Brandon.
A refugee is the subset of a migrant.
A migrant is, let's hear it. Let me hear you break this down. A refugee is what?
Getting hot here.
Wait, because
Do not price is right me.
Okay, go on.
a migrant is anyone that's in the process of immigrating or moving, and a refugee is under that category specifically due to moving away from where they come. Like the reason that the factor that's driving them is something that's in their original homeland. Like
Okay. Okay. A migrant is any person who crosses a border. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're crossing from one country to another, you are a migrant. A refugee is someone who is fleeing for political or criminal or some instability that is you are seeking asylum for. Okay? That's nobody. All right. Movement in this country is not new. People have been moving to the United States since its inception. Some as forced migration, forced labor, as in slaves. Some for economic, war, instability, all kinds of reasons. Although the number of immigrants in the United States is just half the level of immigration that was seen in 1900s, the overall foreign-born share of population is actually the same. So, 100 years ago, many, many more people came to the United States as a part of the population. But that number has dwindled significantly now. But the percentage of all Americans that are in that number, so the number of immigrants as a percent of all the people that are living in the United States, is actually the same. What kinds of things that are happening to American citizens that causes immigrants who come here to seem to outnumber them? What do you think it might be, Brendan?
There's lower birth rates among Americans.
Very good. Correct. Because Americans are not having as many children, American citizens are not growing as much, it would feel as if the immigrants are even more than they were previously when they're not. It's just that our population has stabilized so much that foreign-born citizens, foreign-borns who are in the country seem to be more, right? Another question. This, I don't know if you guys know this one, but I thought this would be an interesting one, since we seem to think of this often in between Republicans and Democrats feel this way. Democrats are pro-immigration and Republicans are not. I thought this question would be interesting. In 1986, there was an amnesty granted for many people living in the US without documentation. Who was the president who granted that amnesty? Lewis?
I'm gonna go with Ronald Reagan.
Correct.
Good
So
catch.
in 1986, Ronald Reagan granted an amnesty to people who were living in the United States who were undocumented and unauthorized to be here, granting them naturalization and then citizenship. So there was a time when this was not a starkly partisan issue, okay? And I think we should remember that. The last question. There are, and you don't have to be exact on this, there are 43.5 million people in the United States who are actually born somewhere else. So foreign-born people living in the United States are 43%. How many of those, what percentage of that do you think are unauthorized? Meaning that some people would call them illegal. These are people who are either not naturalized, not permanent residents. They are unauthorized, undocumented, living in the United States. Oh, finally! Oh, you knew
It doesn't have to be exact though, right?
No.
I would say like around 15%.
Higher.
Mara.
25%.
Exactly. 25% of the people that are living in the United States are foreign-born are unauthorized individuals. That seems not to be a lot. It's, like 11 million people, but there are 11 million people in the United States that are living in uncertain, undetermined states. That creates instability for this country in so many ways, particularly economic, educationally, and it's an issue that we need to deal with. So I want to thank you guys for the challenge. Scorekeeper.
I'd like to say congratulations to Japera. She won by 3 points.
Ugh.
Although a close second was Mara, who won by 2 points, and Brandon, who scored in with 1 point.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming out. Hold on. And in keeping with tradition,
I'm in the wallet.
the winner, Japera, gets a gift card to Starbucks.
Yes, coffee!
So I just want to tell everybody in the Facebook world, these are my interns. They're fantastic. They're dynamic. They are on point. Many of you, I'm sure, didn't know these answers, and these are young people doing great things. And look out for us next week.